July 1st, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. It was very much just a sideways price action pretty much in a range that was about 25, maybe 30 points. It did span to the very lows and to the very highs, came back, touched the pre-market bottom once, and then it went up, touched the pre-market highs, and broke out twice. The only economic data that came out today was Fed Chair Powell had a press conference or said something around 6:30 Pacific Standard, which is right about here where the market was going to open, as well as at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is about right here, which was the ISM manufacturing PMI and the jobs openings. Other than that, it was just kind of a really choppy day. There were a couple of setups that I found, and I only managed to take one trade. There was another trade that I didn't take. I was stepped away. When I came back, I noticed it, and I think it was probably a trap trade. It looked like it was a high probability trade to me, but it would have failed. So it's kind of this trade right here, the second entry short, and I'll get to it when I get there. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the chart right now. Pre-market, it looked like it was a spike up, pressed down, and it was chopping sideways, but it was making its way down in this red down channel. I saw this. Now, keep in mind, I didn't see this in real time because I really start trading start looking at the charts about 15 minutes before the market opened. But I saw this lower high, and I thought this might be a possible trade. If this setup showed up, if this is all regular trading hours, then I think this is a viable trade to have taken because you have a new low. It's a first entry short, pull back, second entry short. Technically, you have a third entry short here, but I saw it as a visual first entry, second entry. Despite the fact it might be a third entry, you do have a lower high here. Looks like a spike in a downward channel, almost a touch rejection, and a strong push down. So in real time, if I saw this, I think this might have been a trade that I would have tried to jump in on. There is just enough room for 1 point scalp, so it is a little riskier, but the overall bias does look like it's moving down. Then it moves and prices over to the opening. Looks like there was a bunch of choppy legs up. I was initially playing with trend lines that kind of went up this way, which did really fit quite well because you can see there's these breaks. And I adjusted it to here, adjusted it to here. One time I was thinking of something like this, then it broke and it kind of kept going up. I had this as a trend line support here. There's just sideways price action right here. Technically, you have a new high, say first entry long. You have a second entry long here, but it's a bad signal bar. Hits and makes a new high. It starts coming back down. There's a failed breakout here. That's where I set up this trend line, but I don't really trust it as anything yet because it's only really one touch, two touch. The high side I turned into a channel and it kind of fit pretty well here. Then I kind of started moving up on this orange up channel. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Moved up in this orange up channel. You really only get a first entry short, and then you get a second entry short way up here, but it feels a little far away. Break of this orange, test the high once, pull back. You have a second entry long here, maybe to test the high of this orange. But I also saw that this possibility of this orange breakout is making one leg down, pull back, second leg down. Plus, this is right about where the news came out, which was the ISM manufacturing PMI came out, and it caused this very, very volatile chop. So I'm not trading anything in here anyways. But if there was no news item, this isn't a safe trade in my opinion to take because it is a second entry long here, but the signal bar is a doji. It looks a little suspect. Plus, seeing this in real time despite the news, I'm thinking this overshoot here could create a corresponding symmetrical overshoot down here. So that's what I'd be looking for. But since it's news, you kind of neglect taking that into consideration because you're just waiting for the news to play out. Chop sideways, and it creates this second entry short triple test. So I have a new low here. It's a first entry short, pullback, potential second entry short. I was thinking I might be in a trading range right here. There is kind of like a triple test, not the cleanest, because it has two confirmations here. This one really isn't a confirmation because it opened here and moved down. So it can't really be an attempt to push out. So you could say maybe this is the first test, second test, and third test, but this is part of that news. So it's a little harder to trust the triple test. It is coming out from the top of the range. There's an overshoot of this yellow up channel, and I'm expecting another break here, but it started to move sideways. So wasn't too sure about it. When it formed here, it does confirm your second entry short. There is enough room to scalp out, but after seeing this trigger bar, I'd be a little bit hesitant. So the only way I would have been on this trade is if I jumped in right after this one closed. And I had to sit through this next bar, and then this would have worked. But I don't think it's It's a possible trade, but I felt it was a little riskier because you'd be basing it off the strength at the top of this range, playing range rules, and potentially the EMA really not acting as much, so you could expect maybe a push back down to test this side, create a symmetrical overshoot of this side. Prices does create an overshoot here, and it starts moving up, moves up on this orange up channel, break, test the high, kind of consolidates, moves back down, hits the low side of this yellow up channel, breaks down, continues. You technically only have a first entry long. Here, creates a second entry long. But here, I'm not thinking of going long. I do see this green down channel break. That's the low. And initially, I had something a little tighter here. So I saw it as a fail breakout, another symmetrical fail breakout, test the low. There was a thought that maybe this support could be something. So there could be a potential 1 test, 2 test, 3 test. The thing I don't like about this particular triple test is I'm relying on this volatile candle based off the news to be part of my triple test count. Now, if this is like a fourth one, there was some other touch over here, another touch between here and here, then I trust the triple test a little bit more. What also held me back was this isn't a very good signal bar. So when it creates a first entry long, second entry long, you got to confirm second entry long here. The signal bar didn't have me ready to take the trade. I'm just leaving this alone. I'm actually looking for a higher low now, ideally above the EMA, but the EMA isn't super reliable. Pushes up, you don't get a higher low. I just abandoned all thoughts of trying to take a trade here now because there's nothing setting up. Pushes up, back down. Looks like it's one leg, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but this is an inside bar, and the follow-through trigger bar isn't very helpful. So I'm not thinking of going long, but I'm not thinking of a failure either because it just looks a little ambiguous. Prices then continue moving down, starts moving sideways. Got a doji here. You do kind of have a somewhat of a range operating here, but it's not very reliable. So it starts moving down, bounces. Here, I'm thinking there's a potential second entry short, new low, first entry short, pull back. It hasn't created a second entry short yet, but what I did like about this potential possibility is it moved one tick up and then closed at the low. However, it's closing at the low where it looks like there might be some kind of support here. I also try to make a channel fit, maybe here, but it didn't look that clean. So then I was thinking maybe there's a channel, because you already have this blue one, maybe it's slightly wider, but even if I drew a second channel here, it doesn't really fit that well on the high side either, because there's only one touch, two touch confirmation. You could argue for a bottom support confirmation, but nothing too much here. Looks like it would have flushed down, so if I did try to enter, I'd be in on this trade now, and I would have been a losing trade. So my suspicion that this wasn't maybe the safest is kind of valid. Plus, I saw this blue down channel break, test the low already. So it's making another attempt down, but why would it when it already tested the extreme? So it kind of left me hesitating on this one. Prices then continue moving. It chops. I have a one touch, two touch, three touch, triple test, but this signal bar isn't good enough to try to take a trade off of. I was initially thinking maybe there's some kind of trading range, something to this effect. This could be a fail breakout, but it starts moving up and out, flushes back down, and pushes down. So if a new high here is a first entry long here. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but this isn't a safe signal bar to take. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. No real other key entry points to bounce off of. So although it's a second entry long, there's nothing really backing it up. Seeing this, I'd want a more visual or more confirmed second entry long, because you could actually see this as maybe just first entry long. Group these two together. Starts moving down. You could say maybe there's a second entry long here, but the second entry long so far from the EMA, kind of bouncing off of nowhere. And you could say it's a visual first entry, second entry. But now I'm looking for a higher low, ideally breaking above this EMA, because prices are starting to look like they're turning. Pushes down, almost touches and matches the pre-market low. And it looks like it was a break. One attempt down, second attempt down does make a lower low each time. First entry short, or it could be a higher low. It starts reversing back up. So it could be a first entry short, second entry short, second entry short failure. A little far from the EMA. This candle is about 16, 17 ticks. And there's plenty of room, but it's kind of like plenty of room to where I was thinking I might be in this channel and there could be a potential top of the channel right here. So I'm a little hesitant to try to enter longs. Feels like I'd be chasing the trade, even though you do have a failed second entry short. You have a higher low here, but it's far from anything. Prices move up. Keep in mind, I don't have this yellow up channel drawn yet. Creates a double matching high. This could be a lower high, so it could be like a one leg up, break, test the high, pull back. Could be a lower high here. Pushes down. First entry long. Technically, you have a new high here. First entry, second entry, third entry. There's a break of the orange, test and makes low. It creates the second entry short. Excuse me. This second entry short, I actually thought was a possible trade because it's a break of this orange down channel. But this break of this orange down channel technically has tested the low now, depending on how you drew it. It's a new low here. First entry short, second entry short. I like this trade where the setup is one tick above, flushed and engulfed this guy. The problem, so actually, I wasn't really paying attention. I was kind of up and down from my desk, but I think I would have taken this trade probably one tick below here. I would have gotten filled, and then this candle would have stopped me out. So I'm looking at this trade, and I'm just wondering, was there a different way to look at this? I think the way to look at this is there's a orange down channel, break, tested low. Downtrend has played out. This yellow up channel doesn't really exist yet. You could have drawn it as a trend line. So there's a trend line, you could say it's kind of bouncing and moving back up. The thing that's going for this is it broke above the EMA and immediately reversed on this candle by one tick, engulfed it completely. Good solid bar at the close, enough room to the low. I believe this might have been a high probability trade that just didn't work out. I'm kind of lucky that I wasn't really dialed in because I think I probably would have jumped on this and then lost on it. Prices then move up, kind of consolidating sideways. You have a second entry long here, but it's just kind of noisy sideways. Prices continue moving up. Once it touches here, that's when I turn this trend line into a potential trend channel, a big yellow trend channel moving up. So I'm going to look for any touches here and any touches here. Ideally, a touch here with a good setup because the low side is confirmed and a little more trustworthy on a bullish type of move. But it has to be, because you can see this is starting to trend up, it has to happen relatively early because if it gets too high to the pre-market high, then because I still think we're in a larger trading range, then there might not be any room to scalp out. So it goes up, touches the high, makes a triple touch. First entry long, pull back. Technically, I have a second entry long. I don't really like this as a signal bar. Below the EMA, I don't see anything here. I thought this might be a red down channel break. I'm expecting a test of the low and a move to this side. Looks like it's starting to do that. First entry short, but it starts kind of evening out, moving sideways. Prices move up, new low, first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here. Second entry short, you could argue maybe it's in trading range. The potential trading range like this with a failed breakout here. Go ahead and change the color of this. This green trading range. First entry short, second entry short. Actually, this might have been worth, I think I should have marked this actually. So I'll go ahead and mark this as a second entry short coming from a failed breakout. Probably a trade here. I don't think I recognized it in real time, so I'd never marked it. The failed breakout here, second entry short, decent signal bar. There's only 6 ticks. This probably would have been worth a trade. Creates a corresponding matching failed breakout on this side, about the same size as this initial one. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long, move one tick below and starting to reverse back up. It looks like it's moving back into range, so it's possible to trade. It looks like it was break of this red one, 2 attempts up, 2 attempts down. It could be reversing back up on a bullish type of day or bullish type of area. Prices move up. It's first entry short here. Technically, you have a second entry short here. This is probably a resistance area. I'm not too keen on this. I want to look for a lower high. And you don't get a lower high because I wanted the next candle here to break up above a little bit and then flush down, but it doesn't do that. And then this actually sets up for the one and only trade that I do take. It's a move down on this orange down channel, break, test the low. It's bouncing off this yellow trend channel support. I think this is a pretty decent signal bar. I want to see what the trigger bar does. Trigger bar closes nicely, so I have a confirmed first entry. I have a confirmed second entry. I believe I have a triple test because it looked like it, despite this one, it tried to break through once, tried to break through twice, tried to break through a third time. Now it's bouncing and moving out. So I actually got my order ready and I entered right at the high of this original signal bar. So I entered one tick above, was able to get 2 points, and I got my runner, but I didn't have enough time to move my runner because I was busy moving my stop from down here to one tick above my entry, which is this guy. So just one tick above. When I did that, I was trying to move my runner profit target up to be able to chase it up. And unfortunately, I wasn't fast enough. Got stopped out here. But I like to imagine if I was fast enough, my runner probably would have gotten stopped out on this red candle or this green candle, which would have been, in this case, probably about 5 more points. But unfortunately, I wasn't that quick. Presses move, hits the top of this bigger trading range because it has 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. So I'm thinking I'm in this larger blue trading range with this superimposed overlapping green one at the time. So it pushes up, break of this green up channel, 1 attempt up, 2nd attempt up, is trying to break through the high side, new high, first entry long, pull back, second entry long. I drew this transparent red up channel, but I don't really trust it all that much, but it's just a guideline. If I trust it and it forms to be, if kind of plays out to be a more reliable channel than I color it in. But this is more of a guideline to just keep in mind there might be something setting up. Pushes up, no clean second entries. I also saw this as a potential spike and a channel. So I was also playing this orange up channel, which looked like it fit better initially. So it's here, then as a breakout, pushes up. There's a new high, it's a first entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long. It's kind of inside this one. So I believe there was a potential trade there. Looks like it's 2 legs back. Whether you're playing this orange one with a fail breakout, I'm expecting a potential fail breakout here. So it's like a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. So second entry long, you have to be very careful going in the same direction as this initial channel because it could fail since there's a breakout here. However, I was thinking maybe this transparent red one is in play because right now, of all the data that you see in real time, you have 1 touch, you have good confirmations down here, you have decent confirmations at the high side, so there could be no break here potentially. It could just be a first entry, first break, second entry. So if you're playing this red one, then there's a potential that's going to go back and test the highs of this red one. If you're playing this orange one, then it's more of a riskier trade because it could fail. The first, second entry could fail after a breakout here. But I thought maybe this red one's more appropriate because it incorporates this first swing low and it has a little bit more confirmations. So I thought it was a possible trade. It looks like if you did enter, you would have gotten a 2-point scalp at least. And then if you try to go for any more, it looks like it would have stopped you out. And that's where I drew this red transparent down channel. It looks like prices are starting to move in this red down channel, pushes up, and then breaks out, creates a new low, first entry short, second entry short, count resets, it's a first entry short pullback. I was thinking, is there a second entry short here? But it's based off the strength of this pre-market high, which all the way back here was established. And then there's really no confirmation. And now I'm trying to justify and use it as a key entry point way over here. I mean, it kind of was justified here or reacted as a resistance and reacted here, but it didn't really come into play back here. So even though it's a first entry short, second entry short, it feels like I'm reaching or trying to invent a good reason to include this as a key entry point. So I marked it with an arrow because I don't really, it is technically a second entry short that's a possibility, the second entry short, but it doesn't feel like it's appropriate because if in the past prices had come up, bumped this a few more times, or even broken through, but clearly established as some kind of resistance, instead of trusting it way back here and then maybe over here, then I think it would have been a more viable trade. So it felt a little risky, a little reachy. And it looked like if you did enter, you would have survived and probably gotten your scalp here, but this just felt a little aggressive. Prices then break down. I'm thinking clearly you're back into trading range rules because for a brief time, this large yellow up channel was in play with all these smaller ones, but now this yellow one doesn't seem to be in play. I'm not expecting a push and test of this high of this yellow up channel. So again, it's just kind of sit and wait. Bounces and continues down. Hits a low point and reverses. You have a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short, but this wasn't a good signal bar, no good indication. It just feels a little sideways. These bars are all side by side. This green bar is engulfing this red bar and then engulfing this green bar. So it just feels a little bit iffy all around. Starts reversing again. These bars are just kind of moving within tight range. Bounces, it starts moving up. This blue up channel doesn't exist yet, or I hadn't drawn it yet. Creates a first entry long here, but that's all you get. Technically, I have a second entry long, bad signal bar. At this point, I do draw this as a blue up channel. Had it actually a little tighter. Treated this as kind of a small overshoot, but not anything pertinent. Starts moving back up. So now I see a potential channel that it's working in, but it's really late in the day, so I'm not really looking or hunting for any trades, especially when I already got one trade today I was pretty happy with. I'm not looking for any particular, I guess, opportunity to take a trade, especially with such little time left. And what's worse is if I took a loss, I would be kicking myself for a decent trade that had a runner and then trying to press for something that's not really there. It was new high, first entry long pullback. Technically, I have a second entry long here. This one's inside bar, so I'm not thinking of going long yet. It confirms, but now I have to wait for a higher low. And when you see this, I'm not looking for a higher low anymore. Presses, and now it's only 3 minutes left. Kind of moves sideways into the close. So today certainly was another. I think yesterday, in my opinion, was a little bit better. Today there was some setups. It was a lot more choppy, very range bound. I mean, you could look at yesterday as well. Also very range bound. A lot tighter than today because today it actually spanned the entire range. Yesterday it kind of did till the last end of the day. But despite that, there were probably two decent trades. Like I think this one was a decent trade. I think this one, if I was watching in real time, I would have lost. This one I would have probably taken this second entry short thinking it's a break. One attempt down, this could be a second attempt without thinking that there's already a break of this orange down channel and it had already tested low. And then this one might have been a possible trade here too because it's a triple test, second entry short from here, first entry short, second entry short, plenty of room. Playing the range rules, you're at the highs. So maybe there's like two decent trades and one trade I believe I would have gotten stuck at and probably taken a loss. So got to be more careful because I think in the last video or yesterday or the day before something, there was also another setup I think I would have gotten trapped on. So I just have to be a little more careful, draw my channels a little more tighter, and just be a little more picky. So hopefully that was helpful.